Raven here.
Starfire.
Today we'll be talking about Joe West from The Flash.
Woohoo!
Haha, Joe!
Yay!
Joe is cool.
He is cool. I like him a lot.
Yeah. He just notices things but keeps quiet.
He does. And like he told Iris, he's like, I'm a detective, you know?
Yeah.
You think that I wouldn't figure out that you and Eddie are together?
Mm-hmm. and the same thing with when he told Barry that he knew. He knew.
Everybody knows but Barry.
I know, but he knew that Barry was in love with her before he even knew what love meant.
So did his dad.
That was Joe's line.
Yeah.
That was originally Joe's line.
I've watched you be in love with Iris since
before you
were old enough to know what love is.
Meant. Yeah, what love was. And then the next one to use it was the dad. And then the next one to use it was Barry when he was confessing.
Yes.
Okay, this is Joe. But see, we wouldn't have that if we didn't have Joe.
No, we wouldn't. He's like, I tell her everything, not everything.
He is. It's so weird to think that Joe of all people is the glue.
Yeah,
He's the glue to the show.
he really is. Like,
And it's sad that I think we're going to lose him this season.
yeah. Spoilers.
I think it's his destiny to die.
Because on most superhero shows, the person that's
The
the
mentor
mentor to
dies.
the hero
Mhm.
dies. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Jonathan Kent. Look
Mhm.
at, Spider-Man's, was it his uncle?
Yeah.
Yeah, his uncle, Ben.
Uncle Ben died.
Yeah. So as much as I don't want it to happen,
Mhm.
it probably will.
Yeah. It's the whole hero's journey.
Unless it's his actual dad that dies. But
No, because his dad hasn't been in his life mentoring him.
True.
It has to be the actual, you have the call to duty,
Mhm.
which Barry received and he answered.
Yeah.
Then you have the mentor that helps you along the way. He has two mentors here. One he respects and one he wants to punch his lights out. Or at least I hope so.
Yeah. Wells.
Yes. In case you didn't know who I was talking about.
But
as
I
well.
think Joe is more of a mentor to him than Wells.
Yeah.
Because he's known him longer.
And a lot of the times that doesn't really matter. Because, I mean, take Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Uncle Owen and Aunt Peru,
Mm-hmm.
they died. That was part of his call to destiny.
Yeah.
Because he'd said no to the call, but then his aunt and uncle died.
Mm-hmm.
They raised him, therefore they'd known him longer. But his mentor was Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And he died at the end of the first movie.
That's true. The person that gives you the most amount of, like, wisdom and
Mhm.
who's, like, there for you the most is...
Life lessons and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That helps you along the path of your hero's journey.
Basically.
That's your mentor.
Mm-hmm.
The person who helps you answer the call and helps you stay on that path.
And, I mean, even though he's, like, told him to kind of keep it a secret and things like that, and he hasn't necessarily made some of the best decisions,
Right.
he's still done what he has thought is best for Barry
Mhm.
and for Iris and everybody's sake.
Yeah. He makes sure that Barry knows how needed he is, not just as the Flash, but as Barry being Barry.
The world may need the Flash, but I need my Barry out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I just also want to point out that Grant, who's Barry,
Mhm.
says that the scenes that he really likes doing, other than, all the technical stuff, like the scenes he enjoys the most are the ones he has with Jesse L. Martin or Joe. He really likes the dynamic between their characters.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
So Joe, he's been very reluctant
Mm-hmm.
in accepting what Barry can do, and that there's others like him, and
But I think now
everything,
he's kind of more accepting of it.
yeah, it took him a long while.
It did, but I think
I mean,
that...
he accepted it when Barry when he saw Barry in the pilot.
Yeah, in the pilot.
But he didn't fully accept it. He's
No.
like, okay, you can do this stuff.
But just don't tell Iris about it.
Yeah, he's like, you can do this stuff, but you know what?
He's like, I want
Don't
her to
save
I
people.
want to keep her safe. Like, I want to keep her safe at all costs so she cannot know that you do this.
Yeah. But he's like, all you can do is run fast.
Yeah.
What's that gonna do? You know, he wasn't, I mean, he was supportive to a point,
Mm-hmm.
but now I think he's just fully on board. He's like, okay, whatever you have to do.
But I mean, up until that point, up until now, like where he's fully on board, like nobody really believed that there was something else that could have happened that was crazy,
Mhm.
except Iris. And so
Iris has always believed
when
Barry.
Joe was like, oh, you know, maybe what you're saying is true about what happened to your mom, you know, because he was saying that in the pilot.
Mhm.
And it's like, then he was kind of opening his mind to it more because he saw what he could do,
Mhm.
but he still wasn't completely open to it yet.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I think he's more or less one of those guys that instead of just believing,
Mm-hmm.
I think he lives on the principle that seeing is believing.
Yeah, kind of like Eddie.
Mm-hmm. Whereas Wells...
But Eddie doesn't know that Barry's the Flash and Joe does, so that's the difference. But
whereas Wells and Caitlin and Cisco live in the principle of, if I can dream it, I can make it.
yeah.
So...
Because they're scientists, so that would be a more logical, you know, thing for them to believe.
Mm-hmm. And Barry's just always believed in the impossible because of what happened when his mom died.
Yeah.
And Iris has always believed Barry because she loves him.
She just doesn't know it yet.
Right. But still, through all that, Joe has been the anchor.
I think Joe and Iris have been the anchor, but I feel like she, of course, has more because she, you know, they were around the same age. They kind of grew up together. They're not, you know, I'm not insinuating that they're siblings, okay? But, you know,
Yeah.
when he came to live with them, he was 11, so they were still kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so she's always just kind of been that friend to him that has always supported him and always been by his side and stuck up for him when he was bullied and all these things.
And that's thanks to the way that Joe raised her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at it, Joe has had a huge aspect in every part of Barry's life.
Mm-hmm.
He'll never escape Joe's influence.
Which is why it will be so utterly heartbreaking
When Joe dies.
if and when he dies.
What are you talking about? Joe will die. It's his destiny. He will die.
When he dies, it will be utterly heartbreaking.
It will.
You might actually cry.
I don't know if I'd cry. I don't know. I don't think I will.
I said might.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
Whatever.
It takes a lot to make me cry. For a TV show.
I know. I do wish that he had more scenes with Iris, though.
Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know...
They're always fighting.
Yeah, and she's his daughter. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that they should have more scenes.
And they live in the same house. How do we
she's
not
still
have
living
scenes?
with Joe.
How do we not have the scenes?
Yeah,
of
I mean,
that?
every time, like, they've had a scene, it's either been about her not writing about the Flash or about Eddie or something. And so... You know, I would like to see one of those kind of father-daughter bonding type scenes.
Yeah, I think we really need that.
We do. And I mean, you know, I think that he's kind of becoming a little bit less protective.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I think he's starting to realize that he can't really keep her from doing it. She's 25. She's an adult. She's going to do what she wants anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't really, you know, continue to try to stop her from doing that.
Yeah.
And I think Barry realized that too. That's why he was like, "Oh, I want to hear about it because you're interested in it."
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So overall, Joe's just a really cool character.
He is. And I mean, even his scenes with Eddie are kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that Eddie knows that people like Barry are out there.
Yeah, because in the mid-season, he told him about the metahumans.
Yeah.
I think it was the mid-season, or was it the one before that?
It was the,
Was it the crossover, or was it the one after it?
It was the crossover because Barry beat the crap out of him.
Okay, yeah, it was the crossover. But anyway, he told Eddie that there are metahumans out there, and he's like, well, do you know who he is? And then Barry... I love how, like, when he said that, Barry walked by in the precinct.
Yeah, Joe just watched him walk.
Yeah.
No.
I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. You know these metahumans exist? Do you know who the Flash is? Joe turns his head, watches Barry walk by, looks back at Eddie.
No.
And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know that's what he's thinking, even though he can't say it. Because if he said it, then it'd be implying that he did know, but he wasn't going to tell. Which would be officially now against the law.
And now he's even kind of got a relationship with Wells, because he's been going to him about the stuff with Nora's murder.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of have a connection, or like a friendship and stuff. And so that's kind of an interesting dynamic, because when they first mentioned that like he was going to go to Wells about it, I was just like, oh crap, this is not going to go over well.
Right.
You know, and then I was like, well, maybe it could work in a weird kind of way.
Yeah.
You know? So,
I mean, if Wells needs it to work out, then he's going to make sure it works out.
Yeah. He's going to do anything he can to make it to his own advantage, then whatever's supposed to work out.
Especially once he realizes that Joe's just not going to give up.
Yeah.
After Joe stops worrying about Iris's safety.
Which probably won't be for a long time.
Well, I mean, the Reverse Flash already went up to Joe and said, I warned you.
Yeah.
And then ran off.
And he put the knife through the picture.
No, like, that was before.
Oh, yeah.
But in the mid-season finale, he's like, I warned you.
Mm-hmm.
And insinuating that now Iris is open game.
Yeah, now, like, she's in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And she needs to be protected.
So, get her Crimson Angel to protect her. Even though she doesn't want
Her
him
guardian angel.
Yes. I'm gonna guardian an angel like that. Damn.
I don't know what I would do with it if anything happened to you.
You're worth being on time for. Okay, so I think we pretty much hit our limit on Joe. There's not many scenes with... I mean, even though there's a lot of scenes with Joe, there's not much material to go off of.
No, there isn't. But he is an amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that, you know, my favorite scenes that he has are the ones that he has with Barry.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I agree with Grant Gustin there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like their scenes just really kind of set the tone for a lot of, you know, the reasons why Barry is the way that he is. And they kind of like help us learn more about him and, you know, Joe in a way. Because he's like, you know, I thought that it was going to be too much when you came to live with us. And he's like, you ended up changing my life. And I thought I was going to change your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. They kind of mirror each other in that way, I guess.
Yeah. He brought life to the house.
Yeah. Like, even though he'd seen something so horrible and so dark, he didn't let it darken his soul. And he still brought a lot of light and energy into the house. Mm-hmm. And, you know...
He brought life back into it. He breathed a breath of life into the house that probably hasn't been there since Iris's mother died.
And it makes me think, sorry, but it makes me think of The Sound of Music. Because he's like, you brought music back into my house. I'm sorry, but it makes me think of that. You know, she brought a light to the house when she came and helped, you know, and he had music brought back in the house and, you know, paid attention to his kids again and everything. Yeah. So, you know, I just really like their scenes. I think that their scenes are some of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Other than the Barry and Iris stuff.
Yes. I would have to agree.
Yeah. And of course the rogues and all the cool action stuff.
Mhm. So, I guess that pretty much covers Joe.
I wish we had more to say,
Yeah.
but we don't.
No.
But we will when it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll already have done this video by then.
Yep. Because we're doing it now.
So for those of you that do watch The Flash, 8 more days until it comes back from hiatus. Yay! I'm so excited. I've missed it so much.
I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it.
I'm about to lose control and I think I like it.
Okay, so that's Joe West for you.
Yes.
Who are we going to do on next Monday?
I believe it's Wells. I don't have the
Wells.
paper with me that I have all the stuff.
Well,
written
since
down
we're
on.
off on next Monday, we should do Wells because I think he's going to be the longest one.
Yeah,
Or-
we have a lot of stuff to talk
I
about.
mean,
with.
Eddie's going to have a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, he is too.
But Wells has the most.
yes, we're
lot
going to
more
have a lot to
theories.
talk about with
A lot of
Harrison
theories
Wells.
revolving around Wells and everything. So catch us next Monday for Wells. Until next time, keep believing in the
In the
impossible.